Thank you, Greg. Hey, thank you all, first of all, everybody, for coming out here. We appreciate your interest in the book. We're excited about the content of it. Obviously, we're trying to sell some books, and we're genuinely grateful for all of your efforts. I had never met Sean Payton until the victory in the NFC game, and was introduced to him. And there's some talk about writing a book, maybe this team's doing well, maybe we should think about writing a book here, maybe somebody would actually care about this story. And I went into to Sean's office out on Airline Drive, and he was, as you might imagine, he was a little busy. And he was like, what book? What's this? I got like a Super Bowl to prepare for. I've got pissed off relatives of players who want football tickets. I've got to come up with some kind of a play that's gonna scare the bejesus out of the other team. And the last thing on his mind was writing a book, I got to tell you. He was very laser focused on one huge game that was coming. But if we were going to do this, we had to get rolling. We had to convince a publisher that it was a great story. We had to figure out what that story was. And in a very short visit in that office, first of all, we decided we liked each other enough to work together, and I hope you don't regret that. No. Okay. And we figured out that what this was not an X's and O's football book. This was not the place to learn how you become a football coach. This was the inspirational story about a city that was in terrible condition and an underachieving football team, and how they inspired each other to the ultimate greatness. And anybody who was along for that ride, and I know all of you guys were, know that it was impossible to follow, impossible to be involved in, or even like me, impossible to watch and not feel something really emotional about it. It's a huge honor for me to be part of this book. I think you'll find yourself that as you go through the pages of this book, you will relive this in a way that will really make you feel the great human story of that beleaguered city, of that underachieving team, and that bold, young, risk-taking, aggressive, some might even say occasionally pushing the envelope football coach, Sean Payton.
First off, I want to thank Ellis, and he's completely right on in regards to when we met. It was the week after the NFC Championship game, and everyone's got a spiel. They got their story or their sell, and very quickly I saw from Ellis his passion about wanting to be a part of this project. And look, we were just talking about this a few minutes ago. Having never really done something like this in my life, I think it's oftentimes easy to say, yeah, listen, we'll do it, and I'll see you after we win the Super Bowl, that type of thing. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, it's the Wednesday after the Super Bowl, and Sandra says, hey, you've got a message here from ellis-henican, and Coach Ellis has emailed you. You still haven't returned his calls. Coach, Ellis needs to get going on this project. And you begin to understand and appreciate the journey you're getting ready to go on to do something like this. And you don't take it for granted. And yet I appreciate his passion to really kickstart this project and to get me inspired to do it, because it sounds easy as a coach to say, yeah, I'll write a book, and what does that mean? We're just on the phone for about 5 conversations and then off we go, and it's not that. Before I get into this a little bit more, though, I want to thank every one of you, each and every one of you, for being here. And some of you, many of you know, I know more than some of the others, but I want to thank you most importantly for caring about this team and about this city. And the relationship that we're going to talk about a little bit in Home Team, I think exists a lot in regards to our local media here. And I've shared this with some of you before. I've had a chance to work in Dallas. I've had a chance to work in New York and in Philadelphia. And there's just something unique here that's different. There's something uniquely different about our team. There's something uniquely different about the fan base. And there's something uniquely different about those people whose job it is to cover this team and to cover the news for this region. And I say that because all of us at different times get faced with challenges to do our jobs. And prior to me ever arriving here, many of you had to make decisions in regards to your professional careers right after Katrina. And I thank you for choosing to stay or choosing to come. Because anyone who's got family or just simply anyone who's got a career they're concerned about has to buy in, has to step in and say it's going to be all right. And very early in this book, we have a chance really to reference the beginning of the journey, the coming to New Orleans for not just myself and my family, but for so many other coaches, for the beginning of so many players, Drew Brees, Reggie Bush, Scott Fujita, the players we draft. And so it wasn't just New Orleans Saints that were coming after Katrina. It was one by one it was one by one members of our community, people who said this is where we choose to be, and we're going to have to do some tough work, and we're going to have to overcome some of the challenges. And we try as best we can in this book to really talk about some of the unique stories that really have taken place. And I said this to Ellis early on in the process. I said, when we're finished with this, I really want to make sure that someone that's finished reading it feels like they had 5 hours with me at an airport bar when our plane got delayed. And because there is a story here, and there's a series of stories, and many of you have covered us well before 2006. Many of you came at some point during that process. Some of you came later. And a lot of these stories you're familiar with, and I think some of them are new. But I was hoping to, as best we could, really recall the beginning at that time, right after Katrina, taking us all the way to the championship in Miami. And I wanted it to make people feel good. I wanted it to inspire the fans and let them know how much we truly appreciate being the home team and how important it is to be the home team. Ironically, in 2006, we went to the NFC Championship game that first year, and when we played in that game, we were not the home team. We played that game on the road. And I know I practiced indoors the whole week, and it snowed, and we had trouble with the football. And looking back, I made some mistakes, certainly, in our preparation for a cold game. But the one thing that stood out, leaving Soldiers Field in 2006, is we've got to find a way to be the home team. We've got to find a way to secure our home field advantage, because we truly believe, all of us, and those of you that have been at our games, most of you have, we truly believe we've got the best home field advantage in football. And that's what 2009 provided us. It provided us a chance for us to take advantage of our fan base. It's kind of interesting sometimes what that adversity in 06, the adversity that many of us are going through, many of the people in the southern part of our state are going through right now. It's kind of interesting how sometimes that uniquely bonds people maybe closer together than they normally would be. And yeah, there's a storied past with this organization. And I don't know that we'll ever get tired of a happy ending, though. And this is a book about a happy ending. This is a book about the fans that have waited for this ending. And so there's not a lot of fancy forwards to it. Hopefully it provides you 3 or 4 days, a week, however quickly you want to read it. Hopefully it provides you with some insight as to how we saw this process. And again, I thank you guys for being here. I thank you for the jobs you do.